Imagine living with the weight of millions of eyes on your every move. Imagine planning a comeback, only to watch the door slam shut in your face before you even knock. That's the moment captured when word allegedly spread that Australia rejected a proposed second visit from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a move that reportedly pushed the couple off the edge. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It's a scene that reads like a Netflix drama. The globe-trotting royals, a country once welcoming, now cold to the idea of their return, and two people who believe they still had a place on that world stage. The tension is electric, the stakes high, and the question hanging in the air. How do you come back when the world treats you like a closed chapter? Back in 2018, Harry and Meghan toured Australia as newlyweds, and the trip was more than a royal visit. It was a statement. They met crowds by the harbor, toured drought-struck farms, comforted locals, and even announced Meghan's pregnancy with their first child. That tour, critics say, marked a turning point in their relationship with royal protocol and with what royalty really meant for them. So, when a leaked letter, addressed to Australian astrologer Angela Pearl, surfaced in November 2025, hinting that Harry and Meghan planned to visit Australia again, the reaction was immediate and intense. Australia is not just a destination. For them, it's symbolic, the place where the Sussexes tried to redefine royal life on their own terms. A return would say, "We're still connected. We still matter." But as it turned out, according to insiders and media outlets citing sources in 2025, that attempt to come back was allegedly shut down. What does that rejection really mean? And why does it sting more than just a canceled trip? So what happened? Why would a country, once welcoming and even celebratory, now publicly or privately, reject the idea of Harry and Meghan returning? According to recent reporting, the issue centers on the couple's ongoing use of royal titles despite stepping down as working royals in 2020. For some in Australia, allowing the Sussexes to return under the veneer of royalty appears misleading, as if the couple is seeking to benefit from privileges they no longer officially hold. It's not just about a visit. It's about image, perception, and what royal tour really implies. And there's more. Sources close to the heir to the throne, Prince William, reportedly see the move as potentially harmful to the crown's reputation. They claim the Sussexes' plan is fraudulent, an attempt to cash in on a legacy they formally stepped away from. The rejection, whether formal or more of a behind-the-scenes snub, reportedly hit harder because of the public expectation. Fans who loved the 2018 tour, advocates who applauded Harry and Meghan's work on veterans' welfare and community outreach, were left with confusion. Was the door closed because of protocol? Because of politics? Or because history has a short memory when it comes to scandals and titles? The result, a canceled visit, a bruised ego, and two former royals suddenly reevaluating where they stand in the very institution they once represented. How Harry and Meghan reacted. And why it's more than just disappointment. You'd expect maybe a terse statement, a quiet refusal. Instead, sources say the couple went off. Emotion, fury, a sense of betrayal. One insider told reporters that the rejection landed like a blow, hard, personal, and messy. For a couple already accustomed to living under scrutiny, this felt different. It wasn't paparazzi cameras rattling, it wasn't global gossip. It was institutional coldness. And in the world of royals turned celebrities, that stings. It sent them back to the drawing board. Questions emerged. Was this a sign their brand was fading? Did people truly want them, or just the idea of them? Their private team, sources claim, began rapid-fire discussions, damage control, public image strategies, even whether to tone down the royal branding going forward. For Meghan especially, this reportedly triggered a wave of frustration. After all, the 2018 tour had been a high point, a moment where she felt accepted, celebrated, heard. To be refused a second chance stirred emotions that weren't just strategic, they were deeply personal. Consider this. What if you went back to the place you once belonged, only to be told you don't belong anymore? Would you fight back? Or quietly walk away? The ripple effect. What this means for the royal brand, and for you. The rejection didn't just affect Harry and Meghan. It sent shockwaves through the royal brand, media coverage, and public debate. For institutions like the monarchy, or whatever remains of it in the modern age, consistency matters. Titles, duties, tours, they all come with a contract of trust, legitimacy, and symbolism. When a prince and princess who voluntarily stepped back try to recycle that package for personal benefit, it raises questions. Australia's reaction might signal a broader shift. Celebrities with royal pasts don't automatically retain the privileges once afforded to full-time royals. The brand value attached to their names might be fading, or people might simply be losing patience with royalty light. For the public, it means rethinking narratives. Are we still supporting them because of who they were, or because of who they are now? What does royal responsibility look like when the crown isn't worn daily, but only in press photos and brand deals? Most importantly, it shows that even royalty has an expiry date, and sometimes a loud, definitive rejection. The leak that lit the fuse, what the letter to the astrologer really shows. 2 weeks ago, a letter surfaced, addressed to astrologer Angela Pearl. It was dated October 24, 2025, on stationery bearing Harry and Meghan's monogram. The note was polite, warm, until the final lines. On a separate note, we look forward to staying in touch, especially as we look to visit Australia again. That simple sentence ignited speculation. For fans, it was hope. For critics, it was a reach. For the royals, a premature move. But what's interesting isn't just the leak, it's what it represents. It shows a couple still attached to their royal identity, still hoping for opportunities that once came with automatic access. It reveals desperation, an eagerness to stay relevant, to reclaim a spotlight that's increasingly dimmed. It also shows miscalculation. Because the minute that letter went public, or semi-public, it invited scrutiny. And scrutiny in today's media climate doesn't wait. Legitimacy gets questioned, privilege gets challenged, and the broader public, especially in a country like Australia, where monarchy support has long been shaky, gets to weigh in. In short, the leak may not have caused the rejection, but it certainly forced Australia, and perhaps the royal establishment, to pause and say, wait, who do you think you are now? Would you go back if you were shut out? A moment of reflection. Put yourself in their shoes. You once walked into a foreign country, welcomed by waving crowds, smiling faces, media adoration. You felt accepted, admired, powerful. Then you stepped back for a few years, living in California, building a life that's equal parts public and private. Now you try to return to the same place with the same name. But the doors are guarded by invisible rules, old memories, and shifting perceptions. Would you walk away quietly, hold your head high and never revisit? Or would you fight for another chance, just to prove a point, for yourself, for your brand, maybe even for your ego? If history tells us anything about human nature, especially celebrity nature, the answer is probably the latter. You'd try, you'd push, you'd hope, because this isn't over. Far from it. If you listen to insiders, if you watch the media cycles, you'll hear whispers. The couple might try again. They could recalibrate, maybe plan a more low-key visit, maybe ditch the royal branding, maybe emphasize charitable work instead of royal glamour. There's also the possibility of a comeback by other means, philanthropic events, private trips, or even business ventures tied to Australia. After all, their letter to Angela Pearl didn't explicitly say royal tour. It simply said visit. Ambiguity that might just give them a way back in. The broader implication, the idea of royalty reimagined. Not as a birthright, but as a fragile brand, one that depends on relevance, respect, and public goodwill. And in a world quickly moving away from tradition and titles, that brand may have to fight harder than ever to survive. What fans, critics, and you can learn from this, whether you root for them or not. There are takeaways here that go beyond tabloids and public drama. Relevance fades without humility. Even with royal blood, public favor is fickle. Transparency matters. A leaked personal letter stirred the storm. Secrets don't stay buried in 2025. Branding has limits, titles, fame, prestige. They don't guarantee acceptance everywhere. Expect resistance when you challenge norms. Australia's rejection might reflect broader global shifts. And maybe most importantly, sometimes the comeback story isn't about returning to where you were. It's about building something new, authentic, and grounded. What do you think? Will Harry and Meghan stage a comeback? Or walk away for good? If you've read this far, thank you. You've witnessed a modern royal drama unfold, one with public statements, leaked letters, national controversies, and human emotion underneath it all. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Harry and Meghan will push for a second Australian tour, maybe in 2026? Or is this rejection a final curtain call on their royal tour days? Drop your thoughts, predictions, or wild theories in the comments. If this story changes again, as I expect it will, I'll be right here.